The Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor John McClain. Tucson's favorite family show.
Hello, welcome back everybody to the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McClain, your host of said show, here with the star of the Common Good Radio Show, Mrs. Alyssa DeMeo of Astrum Consulting.
Hello, happy to be on again. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you were rested, recuperated, back at it, not complaining too much about having to be back to work, and enjoying whatever you're doing to serve our country in your own special way. But this would not be the Common Good Radio Show if I did not thank a very loving Father that makes it so we can all enjoy an awesome Thanksgiving with our families and all the other cool stuff we did. And I usually thank him with the Lord's Prayer that goes a little something like this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So that being said, we got one of probably one of our favorite people here in studio with us. We just like switched chairs in some capacity, or kind of like did a musical chair arrangement here in studio, and we have what was the host of The Guys Next Door, brought to you by Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, Mr. Ron Arenas, is now in the hot seat, brother.
Uh-oh.
The hot seat on the Common Good Radio Show, representing Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, to tell us what's going on.
Well, hello there.
Hey, how does this feel?
Wow. It's kind of hot.
Isn't it
Yeah.
hot? Isn't it? Yeah.
I'm sweating
But it kind
over
of
here.
warms you
Yeah.
up a little bit, though.
Yeah,
A little
yeah.
different personality over there. I see you. Okay. So, for those who don't know what Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing is,
Okay.
let's fill them in. Let's just say they were hiding underneath the rock and the logo of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
And they crawled underneath, and they're like, "What is this logo that I see here?"
It's a good logo, too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question. So we are a full-service residential and commercial air conditioning, heating, and contractor.
Okay.
We can do pretty much anything that is in that scope of work for the heating, cooling, and plumbing, from a leaky faucet to a whole house repipe or whole house water filtration. On the HVAC side, anything from repairs on your air conditioner or furnace to a new system, or duct cleaning, or aeroseal duct sealing, indoor air quality. We can do that also.
That's impressive. I mean, I was thinking about this a lot lately. And after I say this little piece, I'm going to give it to you, Alyssa, because I definitely look forward to seeing you interview this guy, because I interviewed him way too many times. But just the breadth of stuff that you do, and just kind of like, I could just imagine how many things you've done and how long the story has gone to be where you're at, and kind of the legacy that you've established, not only for yourself, but for your family, the Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing name and brand, and kind of like, everything you've done and where you're at now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you ever sit back and just think, how grateful you are for where you are, and just like really accept what you've accomplished?
Oh yeah. I'm grateful every day for it.
Mm-hmm.
But the team that we've put together is just, they're the ones that do the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Really. I wouldn't be able to do anything, or even, be on the radio here with you, if I didn't have such a great team out there working and providing the service for everyone.
Yeah. It was just my thought. It's just like, man, you've accomplished some amazing stuff, and
Well, thank you.
I feel
I
so
appreciate
honored to
that.
be partnered with you. So it's just like, when I do get to your place in life, it'll be humbling, I imagine, as it is for you And it is for me. It's not like
Yeah.
I haven't. I was just sitting on my hands my whole life. Like I have a name for myself as well. But it's I'm humbled by it. You
Yeah,
are an epitome
sure.
of that. Of just like, man, you're kind of great, dude. But you don't act like it. What's going on with that?
Oh, thank you.
But again, I'll give it to you. Listen.
Yeah, you touched on teamwork. Every time I hear you speak, you're
Right.
always so quick to thank your team and say that it's them doing all the work. Coming from a construction field myself, I know how hard it is to, number one, build a team in construction or the
Yeah.
trades and manage them. How do you do this so well?
We focus on character. When we're hiring a new team member, we're looking at their character. For the most part, we can teach anyone how to turn a wrench or cut a pipe or measure things. But we want them to come with the character that's gonna fit in with our team. And once we find that person, and sometimes we have to go through a few people, even if they have great experience or their resume is great. Sometimes we don't go with them because we feel that there might be some conflicts with their character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And staffing is one of the biggest issues that any business owner has. And,
Yeah.
character fit, culture fit is huge right now
Yeah.
in industrial and organizational psychology trends. How do you ensure the character is a fit for your organization?
Well, I don't think we really ensure it. I mean, we do a several step interview so that there's different people looking at them. It goes with the department head, with my son that is the operations manager, and then myself. And so we all look at the person, we all talk to the person and interview them just to make sure that they're a good fit. And just make sure that they have the character that we believe that they have, that they will fit into our team.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, definitely. I mean, even as I'm raising teenage boys into becoming young men, you raise,
Yeah.
teenage boys one time
3
into
boys.
young men.
Yeah.
They're all in their young 20s, in some
Mhm.
capacity right now. It is, the major thing that I'm trying to teach them, no
Yeah.
matter what they do for a living. Whether
Right.
you want to be a famous rapper or you want to be a detective in the FBI,
Yeah.
you need a good character.
Yeah.
Like if,
you
if
do.
you don't have discipline, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, if you don't do these things, then the other stuff you might as well throw it out the window. So kind of in line with what Alyssa's saying is like, is there something that you glean from conversations, or is there something you're seeing? Is there a makeup within that those interviews that gives you a sense of that character, or is there just a feeling, an intuition?
Most of the time
you
it's
have?
a intuition, it's
Mhm.
a gut feeling. Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we don't necessarily hire people right off the street. A lot of times they're referrals.
Mhm.
And so at least it's a little bit of a warm referral that we get a reference,
Mhm.
and that helps. And that doesn't ensure that they're going to be hired or that they're the right person, but at least it's a little bit of step of familiarity, that instead of just someone that's off the street.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And research supports that a lot. In school, we were taught, if you are going to an existing company and you're consulting with their people management strategy, you want to ask the organization, who's your best employee, and can you get referrals from them for other people who can work? Because
Yeah.
birds of a feather tend to flock together.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Definitely. Yep.
Interesting. And I guess something more kind of industry specific. What is it that people need to keep an eye on? Like we were talking about it before we went into it. You said maintenance seems to be a real big call
Right now
that
it
you're
is.
having right
This time of
now.
year. Yeah.
So speak to that, and why is that?
Well, I mean, it's mechanical.
Mhm.
Anything mechanical is going to break down eventually.
Mhm.
But the more that you maintain it and stay on top of everything, the longer that system's going to last.
Mhm.
And with gas appliances, you want to make sure that it's operating safely and efficiently.
Mm.
So, it's safe for your family to operate.
Mhm.
How would I do that? Because I do have a gas at home.
You call us.
Call us.
Yeah, call us. We go through the system. We make sure that that there's no gas leaks, that everything's working safely, efficiently, and we clean everything up. Make sure all the electrical components are working the way they're supposed to,
Okay.
and then you'll have a safe and warm winter.
How much noise does it need to make before I need to start calling you?
It depends on what noise it is.
It's like a knocking.
It's a knocking. Yeah, then there's probably something in there.
Okay.
Yeah, something's going on.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the big thing that, I always tell people in reference to kind of what Ron does is like, if you're concerned, you're probably beyond the point of calling somebody and
That's a
having
fair
them check
point.
it out. So yeah, definitely preventative maintenance is a lot better than dealing with the problem afterwards.
Yeah.
But just giving a call, having someone take a look at it, doesn't really take much. So
Yeah.
And what does that process look like?
Sure. They can give us a call at 520-492-0748 or go to picturerockscooling.com.
Nice. So don't put yourself in a list of shows. So this is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. I'm Pastor John McClain. We just had on Ron Arenas with Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. I got across from me the star of the show. She is, I'm not even going to say what she does. She's going to tell us later in detail, but she's
that'd be
brilliant. She's brilliant. And her name's Alyssa DeMayo with Ashram Consulting. Go to veteranrescuemission.org for more information about the work we do to help homeless veterans, as well as more information about the show, The Guys Next Door. We also have YouTube pages for The Guys Next Door and the Common Good Radio Show. But let me thank our sponsors, see if I have enough time. Good luck to me. Proper Villains for Tucson, We Care Tucson, 100% Guys Who Give, Tucson Somali, Desert Sunset Realty, White Stallion Ranch, Always Pay Home Inspection, Crest Insurance, Piper Family Painting, Steamy Concepts, Donso Dust Landscaping, Ashman Consulting, Duran Coaching, CB2 PGA, Pep Inc. That's all I got. I'll see you after the break.
The Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor John McClain, Tucson's favorite family show.
Yes, indeed. We are back. This is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain here with the star of the show, Mrs. Alyssa DeMayo with Ashram Consulting. And for those who do not know what you do over there at Ashram Consulting, why don't you fill them in, Alyssa?
Absolutely. I'm an industrial and organizational psychology practitioner, which is just a really fancy way of saying I'm a business scientist.
Absolutely.
I use psychology-based research to go into businesses, find inefficiencies in people management strategies, operations strategies, and I use an empirical research way to improve them, improve your bottom line, make your employees happier, and make the business run much smoother.
Nice. And for people who want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Go to astramconsulting.com and you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation where we can talk about what you might want to improve in your business.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me, being there and co-pilot just in case I fall asleep at the wheel. Make sure we don't crash into something.
Well, thank you for always having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of another business genius, we have a gentleman who, I've been fortunate to partner with him on several networking events, on kind of several different projects, many brainstorming sessions, learn from him on so many different levels, so many different things. And that business genius is Don Zavis with Don Zavis Sales Training, an international sales trainer, coach, and presenter. Thank you, Don, for joining us, brother.
Well, that's fine, and it's an absolute privilege, and I feel the same way about you. Although the word business genius is probably a little bit strong, I will take the very kind accolades. Thank you.
We stroke egos here.
Yeah, we do. And if you're not a business genius, then you put on a very good show. So I'll give you at least credit for that.
Well, then I'm going to tilt back towards genius. But thank you for having me. It's always a privilege to be on your show. I really, really do enjoy it.
Absolutely. And so for those who kind of like, which I mean, I'm in that league in some capacity until I met you. For those who don't know what a sales trainer or sales coach is, fill them in.
Well, I mean, using something comparatively, if you wanted to be a better skier, you could strap on your skis, go up and down the lift, hopefully not break a leg in the process. And in maybe 4 or 5 years, based on just making your mistakes along the way, you may ultimately be a mediocre skier. Same way with golf. Anything that you want to do, it's always best to find people that are really, really good at it. And I always tell people that, I focus on sales and sales development, literally 7 days a week. So I'm a product of the product. I coach and train exactly what I do myself and have hundreds of clients throughout the country and the world. that we can determine what really works in the marketplace. So, if you're not happy with your sales for whatever reason, seek me out. I'll be happy to have a brief conversation. If I can help you, I will. If I can't, I can't.
Wow. And there's so many different components to sales. There's overcoming objections, following up, establishing a sales funnel, understanding the product. When people hire you and they come in to help and to bring you in to consult to improve their process, what is the biggest area of challenge that people typically have?
Accountability.
Oh,
I think the average person, it's interesting because, frequently I'm brought in and I'll be sitting at a conference room and then there'll be, a dozen people there, and I will start the conversation with tell me the three things that you would need to do that would have an immediate effect on the income of your business. And almost immediately they can rattle off better prospecting, more engagement with existing clients, more effective sales techniques. And I'll be like, okay, yep, do that. Where's my check? and I say that kiddingly because, again, most people know, especially if you've been in sales more than 30 days, you really know what you need to do to be successful. You should be prospecting more. You should be more visible in the marketplace. You should have a much better sales funnel and sales. You kind of know what you need to do to be successful, and yet, despite your desire to do it, you just don't do it. I guess it's no different than anyone who wants to eat better or get more sleep, or we know what we need to do. We just don't do it. And accountability is a great tool to have, because if you're a solopreneur, and it's really profound in solopreneurs, if you don't make 20 prospecting calls today, who yells at you, right? Who's going to come down on you? And I do a wonderful session, called "If You Were Your Own Sales Manager." And essentially what it is imagine hypothetically you were your own sales manager. Even though you may own the business, imagine that you were the salesperson for your business, which you are, by the way, if you're a solopreneur. If you were your sales manager, what would you do? And the thing that I hear all the time is, I'd fire me. Right off the bat, they're like, I'd fire me, because I'm not doing any of the things that if I was talking to myself as a sales manager to a salesperson that's in my care, again, we know what to do. So accountability is huge.
Absolutely. I see that so much in coaching clients. People typically do have the knowledge. They just, for some reason, can't see the forest for the trees almost when you're so into it. And you mentioned solopreneurs and you've mentioned teams before too. Who would be ideal clients for you? About 4 years ago, just on a whim, I had an intern that I was working with, and we were looking for something incredibly interesting for her to do. So I said, I'd like you to go back through the entire history of Don Zabas sales training, going back to 2005. And I'd like you to record the industries as closely as you can to what those things are. We are at 311. Oh, wow.
So virtually anybody, nothing happens until somebody sells something. You could be the most amazing architect in the world, but until somebody signs the dotted line to hire you, you're not going to build anything. You could be the most amazing of amazing of amazing, but until somebody sells something, nothing really happens. So, almost even the industries that don't think of themselves. I have a plastic surgeon that I signed up about 5 months ago, and you wouldn't think that a doctor would see himself in a sales capacity. In fact, he was very reluctant in the beginning. He said, I didn't go to, 12 years of medical school and then plus internship, all the other stuff to be a salesman. And I'm looking at his sales figures. I'm going, dude, you probably should have. Because again, when somebody's struggling to make a car payment, and you're talking about a $5,000 tummy tuck that is not covered one penny through insurance, let me tell you, there's a sale being made.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, and the thought that kind of comes to mind just from the accountability coach perspective, which is like in your own areas, you and Alyssa, in a big way, and even me, we're all accountability coaches in our own way. For someone who's looking for a sales coach or now even considering a sales coach, Don, what is it that you think you bring to the table that makes them comfortable to let you hold them accountable versus their current sales manager or their current people they have on their team or their wife or their mom or et cetera, that they have that, they do hold them accountable in some capacity, but they're not letting them put their hand in that pocket for whatever reason.
Well, I think a lot of it is what we call co-produce. So what ends up happening is when most people go into a business, the sales manager or the boss, VP of sales, whatever, they dictate what they're supposed to do. So they'll say, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And as a standing rule, if I give it to you, it's mine. But if you come up with it yourself, it's yours. So I have a very broad scenario. I tell them, how quickly do you want to get rich? If you want to get rich, work longer and work harder and just do more. If you want to get rich slowly, do a little bit of everything and then do less of it and do it slowly. So if you know that it's going to take, 20 of something to be successful, then I'm going to strongly encourage you to do 40 of it. Why? Because you'll likely get there twice as fast. So, by co-producing it, I don't force anything on anyone. I tell everyone it's your God-given right to be poor and miserable. And I know that sounds so terrible to say because I'm a devout Catholic, but it is their God-given right to be unhappy. It's their God-given right to be miserable. And, they know what they need to do, likely to be happy, and they know what they likely need to do to be unsuccessful. And, so do that. So we co-produce it. We both agree what they're going to do. And every Monday we start with a quick huddle phone call of about 5 minutes early in the morning. And every Friday we end up with a debrief of about 5 minutes. Monday, this is what we're going to do. Friday, did you do it? Yes, great. What are we going to do next week? No, I didn't do it. Okay, why didn't you? Because you have 100% control of your time and activities and behaviors. And
so
too many times,
I always have to do this to you, Don, but for those who want to utilize your services, how can they do that?
You know what? Call me. And that's the simplest way. I tell people all the time, there's about a 50% chance that I don't want you as a client. Now, I know that sounds, again, terrible as a salesperson, right? I may not want you as a client, but if I don't think I can help you, I'm not going to take your money, right? So a simple call, 248-497-5869. Go and look at all of my shameless propaganda online. Do a Google search for Don Zavis, right? I mean, there's hundreds of videos and YouTubes and websites and, bootleg stuff that's out there, and you're going to hear what I do.
Well, thank you so much, Don, for joining us, brother.
It's always a privilege, my friend. Talk to you later.
This is Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Pastor John McClain here at the Lista de Mayo. We'll be back right after the break.
The Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor John McClain, Tucson's favorite family show.
Hello, welcome back for more Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain, here with the star of the show, Alyssa DeMeo with Astrom Consulting.
Good to be here. I pretty much live here at this point. I have a little cot underneath the desk.
That's really nice. It is literally a little cot. It's the cutest little thing.
It's child size.
It's like a little pink cot. It folds out real easily. It's so nice. But well, enough with the funny stuff. We have a serious manly man here in the studio with us that does something that all men want to do: sell tools. Right?
Or
right,
at least
Billy?
play with tools.
Yeah, that's it, man. You I feel like you have at least a job that all men want at least one part of their life, whether it's in retirement or as they're working on that car in their garage that 67 Mustang Chevelle that they always dreamed about, So, that voice you hear, my buddy Billy with Tucson Tool Shop, a man that is quickly becoming a pillar in the city of Tucson. He doesn't realize it yet, but he'll probably run for office here in this city one day.
Ooh.
But Billy, thank you for joining us once again, brother.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I guess for people who live under the same rock that we were talking about the first segment with Ron Arenas for Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, and don't know of Tucson Tool Shop and kind of the cool story of how Tucson Tool Shop came to be, fill them in.
It started as Kent's Tools in 1978. Kent, Sally, and Butch started with one truckload at the swap meet and grew it into this massive place where they wanted to have people to give people the opportunity to come by, during the week and not just the weekend at the swap meet. So they opened up a full-time store in the early 80s. We've been there ever since, and he wanted to retire and close a business. I didn't want to find another job, so I kind of took over for him.
Nice. And so Tucson Tool Shop was created in what year?
22. I think our first official day of business was September 2023, September 1st.
So 2023, I went from Kent's Tools to Tucson Tool Shop, and it was definitely, it's a cool story, kind of that transition and this on taking that you took from going, being working there for all these years and being like, okay, how do we carry on this kind of this beautiful legacy that Kent and Sally did for so many, and Butch did for so many years. And certainly, having been to the place, like, it's almost like, in a way, like going to a tool museum.
Definitely.
Because there's this story that you see as you walk all the way back to the very back, where there's, 4 or a couple cargo trucks full of just like everything. I mean, it's I think safe to say you guys, you have, over 1 million different types of tools at that place, and it's
easy.
It's amazing. But I kind of like fill people more in on the detailed information. So, where you guys are located at, and what are, the type of tools that they can expect to find when they go there for the traditional, non-rebuilding their Chevy, their old school Chevy type person.
We have everything as far as just like your basic hand wrenches and screwdrivers, up to, things for production for machine shops and wood shops and things like that. The big, massive machines. Also the little, hand carry things that everyday people can use. And
where are you guys located at?
Grant, 1 block east of Stone, on the north side of the road. It's 133 East Grant Road. It's the original location. I know when people sometimes look it up online, the Kent's Tools on First Avenue comes up, but we haven't moved, just changed the name, and we're at the same spot.
Nice. So, in theory, people could Google either Kent's Tools or Tucson Tool Shop, and they'll find you.
And your store is not just a storefront anymore. You also have an online shop as well. Is that right?
That's correct. We've been on eBay since 2010, 2011. But here, a couple months ago, we decided to have like a TucsonToolShop.com where people can place orders and ship stuff out. We're trying to do a lot of stuff on social media, let people know we're there. And everybody said, well, that's all well and good, but I'm in Arkansas. How can I order tools from you and support you? And they didn't, really like the eBay store as much. And so I started a different thing and went a different direction. Try to have more of the more common things on TucsonToolShop.com. But
nice.
You can find both of them on eBay or TucsonToolShop.com.
And I understand you also do Facebook Marketplace as well.
Yeah, I do, Facebook Marketplace. I put stuff up there. It's not under Tucson Tool Shop because they want money for you to post stuff on there. So it's under my personal name, Billy Hill Jr. If you can find me on there. I got tons of stuff at the shop on Marketplace. I'm always adding stuff on there.
That's cool. And it's just the idea, especially as you're explaining it, just to think someone in Arkansas or Alaska or even, the Philippines, who would need, and I was looking at, on your Facebook Marketplace, and it's been some really kind of clever placement that you've done lately seeing these tools that you could literally put a gun to my head and I couldn't tell you what this thing is. It's pretty cool to imagine that someone who, you know, needs this obscure tool that they're not able to find kind of anywhere else in the world, it's just sitting right there in your treasure chest.
Yeah. I mean, I get phone calls and emails and things from people all over the world, and I ship out 6 days a week. So, you know, all you have to do is call the shop or call my cell phone. If I have it, I'll pack it up and get it to you as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
All tools are, it's either a screwdriver, a hammer, or a wrench for me, but I hear both of you talk about these specialty tools or these strange tools. Can you explain, like, what are some of these specialty tools, these very strange tools that you might have?
Well, there are a lot of vehicle diagnostic things that we have that are specialized, geared towards one part or the other. There's also, like, discontinued stuff. Since we've been around so long and have such a large inventory, they have quit making some of these tools or parts and pieces to help fix things, and I still have them in stock. So just it's kind of been what Ken's Tools and now Tucson Tool Shop has always been about, you know, having tools for everybody and even specialty tools. So.
Okay. Wow. So if someone has a very special project, they won't be able to find some of these tools at Home Depot or Lowe's. Like, they would have to come to you.
Correct.
Wow. Incredible.
Like, I'm one of the only places in town that has such a massive inventory of, like, taps and dies and drill bits.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, machinist tools, like carbide bits and end mills and things. I'm one of the only places in town that carries that stuff. I'm the only place in town with a massive range of sizes. You know, anywhere from like hair size end mills up to 2-3 inch. And same thing with dies and taps.
That's wild.
Wow.
I mean, just as you're saying this, it makes my head hurt. I don't know if it does this to you, Mrs. Harvard alum over there, where just it would have had to be you that carried on the torch of Kent Tools and now Tucson Tool Shop, because there's just the catalog and how to find all the stuff and how to get it from where it is to the people that need it.
Yeah.
I can't even, I mean, we're going to have to use another whole show for you to explain that process, because it if it's not sophisticated, then maybe I'm overthinking it, but it definitely seems like there's a lot to kind of keeping track of those million pieces that you guys have.
It's all in my brain.
Okay.
I don't have an inventory list. I don't have anything like that. I know everything, where everything is in the entire store.
That's wild.
I can usually walk over to the shelf and pick it up and hand it to you.
That's wild.
Oh, that's how I find things in the house for my husband.
Well, I'm glad you guys can do that, because I can't even tell you what I had for dinner last night. So, well, that's cool. Well, for people who want to check out Tucson Tool Shop and utilize your services, maybe order something, go ahead and tell them one more time how they can find you and how they can order something online.
You can go online at eBay. It's still under Kent's Tools, the number 4U at eBay. I just recently found out.
Nice. Okay.
TucsonToolShop.com. We're at 133 East Grant Road. You can call me 520-624-8098, or my cell phone is 520-551-2886.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, brother.
Thanks for having me.
This is the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Commission. I'm Pastor John McClain. That was Billy with Tucson Tool Shop. Definitely check them out. I'm here with the star of the show. She's going to be who I'm interviewing next segment, Alyssa DeMayo with Ashram Consulting. So if you want to know about consulting and Ashram Consulting and hear an Harvard graduate speak a little bit, I'd say you hang out a little bit. We'll be back right after the break. But before we go to break, let's thank our sponsors, Proper Villains for Tucson, We Care Tucson, 100 plus guys who gives, Tucson Tamale Company, Desert Sunset Realty, Tucson Tool Shop, White Stallion Ranch, Always Faithful Home Inspection, Crest Insurance, Piper Family Painting, Steamy Concepts, Donso Dust Landscaping, Ashram Consulting, Duran Coaching, CP2PGA, and Pep Inc. And remember, at the end of every day, it's night.
It's night.
The Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last segment for the day of the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McLean, here with... Oh, I don't have a co-host. Where'd my co-host go? Oh, turns out
I'm in the hot seat.
she's in the hot seat, the star of the show, really the star of the show now, Mrs. Alyssa DeMeo with Ashram Consulting, the only Harvard graduate I think I've ever had on this show. I think it's safe to say.
Ooh, what
I
an
think it's
honor.
safe to say. I know. I've also haven't had any Yale graduates or any Stanford graduates. So maybe the only Ivy League graduate I've had on the show.
Oh,
Isn't that
Cappy.
special? Doesn't it feel
That's
special,
special,
to be
yeah.
special? Yeah.
Wow. What
Mm.
an honor to be here. Thanks for having me, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess for those who, if they didn't catch it earlier in the show, explain to them who you are, what you do, and what is Ashram Consulting.
Absolutely. So my name is Alyssa DeMeo, and I am an industrial and organizational psychology practitioner, which is just a super long way of saying a business scientist. And what INO psychology is it is the study of the workplace and workplace dynamics. So practitioners like myself go into businesses and we study business to make them more efficient, to make these businesses more profitable, and to make employees happier with their work conditions. We look at leadership development, team development, and we use empirical research to guide business owners and guide corporations to make these positive changes for everybody.
Interesting.
And what I do at Astrum Consulting is I do executive coaching and management consulting, executive coaching and management consulting.
Okay. Nice. And it's interesting. It kind of something that comes to mind, just because I know the behind the scenes stuff, being a military wife and your husband actually being a major in the Army, it almost seems like those are aligned. Like I haven't got to know your husband as well as I'd like to. I look forward to him being my best friend one day, but I imagine he's a pretty structured guy, pretty organized. And as you're saying this stuff, it speaks to a lot of the sentimentalities of military life, of really getting in there and looking at things from like a mathematical, scientific, statistical standpoint rather than kind of guess shotting at it, because the military, we've been around so long, we have things pretty structured out. So I guess I know, speak to that and maybe the alignment of, your husband and maybe, how what he's done's helped what you've done, or maybe just, I don't know. I feel like I'm asking a real abstract question, but it's like,
No,
it just
so-
comes to mind now. Wow, she is married to a major in the Army, and everything she's saying sounds like she's talking military talk.
Well, you're absolutely right. So fun fact, industrial and organizational psychology was born for the U.S. Army.
Okay.
It was created in World War I, and the
Mm.
original purpose of INO psychology was to find the best soldiers, because we're in a world war.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the World War, and at first it was who could be the best soldiers, what types of people would make the best soldiers, and then it transitioned to, okay, well, we have these recruits, which one of them would make the best officers?
Mm-hmm.
After the war was over, that transitioned to business. Okay, how can we use these strategies to pick the best employees for our corporation? And it just developed from there. And to this day, there are INO psychologists that work for the Department of Defense. My professor at Harvard, one of them, actually is a consultant for the Department of Defense, and she meets up with a bunch of the generals at the Pentagon, and she goes over recruitment stuff to
That's
try
super
and
cool.
help the work dynamics there. Yeah,
That sounds awesome. She sounds so rich. I love her.
she's I love her.
but
Oh, he's a rich. Probably.
on a serious note, though, what we want to discuss today is kind of, and to pick up what we were talking about with Don Zavis earlier as a sales coach and an international professional with sales coaching, the necessity of a coach in your life, and especially
Absolutely.
you broke it down earlier, you break it down even more sophisticated now, having someone come in and help, one, not only maybe put some tools into their toolbox that they didn't have, but also remind them of tools that they did have. Speak to that and the necessity of a coach in someone's life, like we spoke with Don about earlier.
Absolutely. So my specific brand of coaching is executive coaching, where I help business owners, executive CEOs really establish their leadership development, to develop themselves as a leader, to be someone who can lead a team and have a team that actually wants to work for them. And that comes with social dynamics that are very difficult to navigate. And when you're in that position in the moment, in your head, you may think you know what to do, but you're just so in the moment you can't see the forest for the trees. What a good coach does is they help you work through those mental processes kind of out loud and mirror them back to you, so you're able to see what it looks like in yourself and how you should handle different situations that come up. And as Don said, most people know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it. And again, they know it's simultaneously they know what they should be doing and they don't know at the same time. And what a coach does is they kind of fill in the gaps. In a coach's toolbox, our most powerful tool is asking deep, complex questions, because a question is so powerful. It takes control of your will in a way that you didn't expect. And maybe the best way to explain this is for a demonstration. So John, I'm going to ask you a question. And I don't want you to answer out loud.
Don't make me cry, Alyssa.
No, it's going to be very simple.
Okay.
I don't want you to answer out loud. I don't want you to answer my question in your head. I don't want you to think about the answer to my question. I don't want you to even react to my question at all, period. None. Okay? Ready? What color are your eyes? Did you answer the question in your head?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so what I just did right there, I asked you a simple question, but it took control of your will. I told you don't answer my question. I told you don't think about it. But you were compelled to do so because our mind seeks out answers. Now, you can only imagine if I were to ask you a much more complex question that maybe someone's never asked of you before, how much your mind would expand. And that is what a coach is there for, is to mirror things to you that you may not have been asked before or may not have thought about in a certain perspective, and to allow the knowledge that is within you to come up to the surface so you can use it. And as Don said, a good coach also acts as an accountability partner. So once you have that insight, now what? Well, we co-produce a plan together. We co-produce action steps. And you know what to do, but I'm just here to keep you accountable and ask you good questions to make sure you understand like the limits that are around you.
It's interesting. I mean, and when Don said it earlier, I was still wrapping my head around it. And as you're saying it, I'm better wrapping my head around it, but it sounds like a lot of what you're describing is like Erickson's method of psychology, where kind of you're there to help people just kind of speak out loud, figuring out the problem, being a springboard for them. And, you know, the answer is within me. It's just you're there, you know, as a coach to kind of get that out of me to get the best performance. I mean, I guess kind of use the football analogy. Me, if I'm the quarterback, me as a quarterback, I'm the one throwing the ball. I'm the one who's going to make the moves, hand off the ball. But you as the coach are going to tell me, are going to help remind me, okay, that didn't work. I got pummeled when I did it that way last time. I should probably do it this way in the future.
Absolutely right. And in essence, that's really what coaching is. The biggest difference between coaching and therapy, because they are separate. I do get a lot of people ask me, so you're a therapist? No, I'm not. In therapy, you focus on the past. You focus on mental disorders. You focus on overcoming something that happened in the past. And you look to the therapist as the expert who is kind of the authority in the relationship. It's more expert focused. In coaching, it's different because we focus on the here and now and the future. We're not here to look at mental disorders. We're here just to elevate where you are from now. And it's client-centered. The client is the authority. The client is the boss in the relationship. The client is the one that moves in the direction that they want to move. We're simply the support system. Because as a coach, we believe that people are capable of changing at any point in time. And we firmly believe that people are capable of creating their own change. They just need a good support system. And that's what we're here for.
And also, I'll ask the same question I was asking Don before, and it's a little different because Don doesn't have a Harvard degree, unfortunately for him. I'm sure he would love to have one, but other than you being a Harvard graduate, you know, you kind of, you know, being a specialist on, you know, this method that's pretty unique here in Tucson, being a really nice person and very well spoken.
Oh, thank
What
you.
is it that that you bring to the table for a client that's looking to utilize your services that you feel puts you over the hill for them?
All of my techniques are rooted in current, modern, real research that is empirically reviewed, research that is peer reviewed. I only use the techniques that are proven to work majority of the time. Caveat there. And that is so important, because if you're going to spend money on something, you want to be sure it's not snake oil. You want to be sure it's something that's actually going to benefit you, because anytime you spend on something that may or may not work, it's up in the air, that's time wasted. And I can at least ensure that we are doing a process that is the most likely to get you a good result as quickly as possible, safely, ethically, and there's just so much evidence behind everything to support what I bring to the table.
Nice, man. I feel like there's a lot more we can cover. I know there's a lot more we can cover, and we will. But in a kind of 45-second bite, what's something the ideal client, you'd like them to take away from this conversation? And then how they can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So my ideal client is a business owner that has a small team, anywhere from a solopreneur up to 10 people. I also do group coaching. I can come into your establishment and I can coach your team together. What I would like them to take away is, the answers. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. You just need a better support system in place. You need metrics. You need a better operations system. You need that support to help you, because at the end of the day, nobody knows your business better than you do. What you're doing is on the right track. But having a coach helps put these systems in place so they run much more efficiently, smoothly, and you're sure there's research behind what you're doing. And if anyone would like to get a hold of me, you can go to astrumconsulting.com. I offer a 15-minute consultation where we can sit down and talk about the challenges your business has or that you have, and we can see if we want to work together. And that 15-minute session is completely complimentary.
Awesome.
So astrumconsulting.com.
Well, thank you once again for better inform me on what you do, even though I still can't actually say what the degree is. But
Industrial and organizational psychology.
I will write it down next time. That's Alyssa DeMayo, the star of the Common Good Radio Show with Astrum Consulting. I am Pastor John McLean, the host of the Common Good Radio Show and the founder of Veteran Rescue Mission. Thank you guys all for listening. And remember, if you're feeling down, just sit back and relax for 24 hours and watch the beautiful world rotate. It will really make your day.